Hey there folks, my name is Kern. Welcome back to my channel. This is update 5 of the Great Blizzard Bank Heist. It is not a long update today. Shockingly, there are no updates. I think that Blizzard is very content to just keep their heads in the sand and refuse to engage with us. And so the forums are empty of any further conversation from Blizzard or communication or anything of the sort. There are just lots of people who are angry and discouraged and upset and sad. And Blizzard is ignoring each and every one of them, which is not awesome. Similarly, the community side of things is equally quiet. I seem to be one of the only people talking about this. Haven't really seen anything else out there, which says to me that people don't care unless it's happening to them, which kind of sucks. Obviously, there are some people who care, even if they're not affected. And to those of you who have yet to be affected by a bug such as this, I appreciate it. But there are so many other people who are not affected and who don't care. And so this story is failing to make an impact because nobody cares. It's kind of bewildering to me, to be honest. I would have thought that, this big company, this beloved company, doing the wrong thing would be huge for some people. And yet there's nothing but silence. Even Bellular, who ripped Blizz a new one about the anniversary patch, calling it slop, still hasn't said anything about the Guild Bank situation. And my comments aren't showing up on his channel, except to myself. So I don't even know what to say about that. So there's not much to report because Blizzard doesn't care, which has been obvious since the first few days of this occurring. And much of the voices of our community don't really care, which is a shame. I'm going to continue to make noise for a while yet. My game time is in its last month, and I don't know how active I will be afterwards. But there's Factorio Space Age, so you can always watch me playing that. But we'll see. We'll see. We've got another few weeks here. We'll see what happens. But I am increasingly convinced that Blizzard is just content to let us wear ourselves out and not engage with us, which is not the right move for a company to make, in my opinion. And so I'd like to talk a little bit, because I am nothing if not long-winded. I would like to talk a little bit about what Blizzard is losing when they lose me as a customer. They're losing me as $15 a month, or what have you. They're losing me as someone who bought, the versions of the games that were more expensive than the base game. I had early access this year. So, they're losing me financially. I would have looked at the new Brutosaur, that has an auction house and a mailbox on it. And I would have felt the same that I feel now, which is, that is too good. And I might have bought it with gold at some point. but mostly I would have been sad because that is pay to win. That is something that you can only get when you pay with real money, or the token equivalent of, and it's not accessible in the game otherwise. The Brutosaur was accessible in game with in-game gold. Now, yes, you could have bought tokens to get that gold, which is a whole other thing, but the point is that it was available in the game, not outside of the game to be brought into the game. So I might have bought it at some point, let's be fair, but I'm not buying it now. It's like $150 Canadian. You must be joking. So they're losing all of my income. We do not want to talk about how much money I've given them over the years. I've often paid for my brother's subscription. I paid for my nephew's at one point, paid for my own, gifted subs to other people. And then there are the character transfers. I have spent a ridiculous amount of money traversing between servers over the course of my 19-ish years. So they're not going to get that money either. So they're going to lose me as a customer. I'm not going to buy Blizzard, Activision, etc. I'm not even going to buy Microsoft stuff, which makes me really glad I bought Minecraft for my nephews last Christmas and not this forthcoming Christmas, because I would have been like, nope, no, we are not giving that company another dime. And I am not the, I'm not really I am the go-to person, but I'm not the decision maker in the homes of my brother and his family and my parents and such. But like, people listen to me. So if I'm like, no, we're not buying you another Windows computer, Dad, then we're going to go to a Mac or something like that. So they're also losing me as a Microsoft customer. I run Windows. Not anymore. Like, after this, the next time I upgrade my computer, it's either going to be a Mac or I'm going to switch to Linux. We'll see. But not Microsoft. Not anymore. So they've lost all of that from me. And possibly members of my family. What else are they losing, though? They're losing me as a community member. By which I mean, I had a somewhat popular blog back in Wrath, Indicata. I would talk about good things in the game and bad things in the game. I talk about my guild, I talk about dungeon runs, I talk about queues, I talk about, how people don't know how to freaking interrupt. But generally, it was me being very heartfelt about the game. And the reason I would write about the things that bothered me wasn't just me venting. It was because I cared about the game. And over the course of the years, I stopped caring about the game because I saw what nonsense had become of it. Warlords of Draenor was a boys' trip. No thanks. Shadowlands looked god-awful. I couldn't even get through the intro, and I regretted my spending any money on it. So I have spent a lot of my time in the past 19 years talking about WoW. Its good points and its bad points. Caring about it and not caring about it so much. Looking at Classic with rose-colored glasses and talking about the crappy parts of Classic. I mean, ammo for a hunter? Oh, that was awful. So is the minimum range for a hunter. But I tell you what wasn't awful. So many other things. The memories of doing these quests, amazing. Going back to Classic after having played, Classic, BC, Wrath, Kata, etc. Going back to Classic as a player who actually knew how to play was so exciting and so wonderful. And it was really a lot of fun. It had bits and pieces that were annoying. Like, who wants to wait until 40 for a mount? That is slow at that. But that's the game I fell in love with. So they're going to lose me talking about this game. They're going to lose me talking about this anniversary patch. Like, 3 months ago, I would have been happy to talk about this patch. I would have been delighted to talk about this patch. This is classic time walking. This has a new BRD raid. But my enthusiasm for the game has gone. I tried queuing up out of curiosity in the 10 minutes I spent in Daenerys the other day. I spent a bit of time queuing for a BRD normal raid. And it was a 22-minute queue for a hunter. And I'm like, screw that. True, I'm used to healer queues, which are, anywhere between 3 to 7 minutes, depending on what time of day you're a healer. And, so they're gonna miss out on me describing every little bit of BRD's new raid and how much I love it. Because I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna take my memories of the old BRD that I know like the back of my hand. I don't get lost there. Other people do. I do not get lost there. My brother and I can go through there with ease. It's beautiful. So they lose that. And they lose a community resource like that. I haven't been very talkative on my blog lately. I've been focused more on this because all of these people have lost so many things that are very dear to them, and I'm still really upset about it. But I'm that person who would have written everything down about BRD's new raid and had a guide for it on my site. I would have probably done a video or 2 or 3 about it. But the community doesn't get that now. Blizzard does not get me helping them out with their content because they screwed up and they won't fix it. And again, I would have done those things because I cared. Because being someone who can help explain things to people to allow them to do something more easily has always been something that I've done. My very first real blog post at kurnmogh.info/blog is a post about jewel crafting and how jewels work, or gems work, I guess. And that was my first real blog post. It was helping people. It was helping to demystify something. And I really enjoy doing that when it comes to WoW, but I will no longer do Blizzard's work for them. I will no longer be a voice in this community after a point. And not only that, but I will no longer be a physical presence in the World of Warcraft. Now, let's be very clear. I rarely inflict myself on other people as a hunter, as a DPS, because I am not great at DPSing. I look at health bars instead of fire that I shouldn't be standing in or what have you. But I was a pretty good healer. I was a halfway decent, non-main spec tank. I spent the entirety of Wrath once Dungeon Finder came out doing at least one daily run to get my Emblems of Frost, I believe they were called. And I would put on my prot gear, but be in holy spec. And then when I got the summon to come in, when my queue popped, I would then change my spec or my outfit to match what the role really was, rather than have to switch both of them from healer to tank or tank to healer. In that entire time, in months and months and months, I think it was 6 months, 4 months, 5, something like that, until I stopped doing the daily heroics on Madrona, I think I'd only been a healer twice in all of those queues, which is ludicrous. So, they're losing me as a customer. They're losing me as a community resource. And they're losing me as a decent healer and not awful tank in the queues. And when you think about it, and it's just me, just one person, it's not a big deal. I'm not the best anything. But when you think about how many dozens, hundreds, dare I say, 1,000, if all of these people leave the game, that's a lot of institutional knowledge lost. That is losing people who know where every quest item is in Westfall. That is losing people who know how to pull properly without misdirection. That is losing people who know instinctively how a fight is going to go because they've seen it before in a slightly different style 6 years ago. And you're going to lose all of that knowledge that people want to share with others. It's really a big loss to Blizzard and to the community. And it makes me sad because the community didn't hear our pleas. Lots of what we have said fall on deaf ears. People don't care. And that is the sad truth of the Great Blizzard Bank Heist. I'm not going anywhere yet. Stick around. There will be another video next week. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And please spread the word.